Hey, it's Mike, and it is 6:30 in the morning on Friday, October the 17th. We lost Ace Frehley yesterday on the 16th. Um, the rumors had started weeks ago. Ace fell at his home studio on September the 25th, and he suffered a brain bleed, and he was on life support. And yesterday he passed. And I wrote some words last night. They were very heartfelt, and I thought I should share them with YouTube now. So this is what I wrote for Ace Frehley. When I was in grade 8, I nicknamed myself Ace. I think the reason I picked Ace as my favorite Kiss member, and therefore my favorite rock star, back then was twofold. It didn't have anything to do with the music. I didn't know what songs he wrote, and I didn't hear any of the songs that he sang for a short while. Early in my Kiss fandom, I picked Ace because of his cool silver makeup and the spaceman theme. I was a science fiction kid looking for my next thrill now that Star Wars was over, and it was Kiss. Frehley's guitar playing wasn't complicated, but it was impossible to duplicate. Kiss knew that. They tried. Any Kiss fan worth their salt can easily tell the difference between Ace and his final replacement, Tommy Thayer. Tommy was the next best thing, but he didn't have that chonky, gnarly feel that Ace poured into every solo and every rhythm track. Ace's style was based on the pentatonic blues scale of the classic rock bands he loved. His rhythms, double-tracked with a Les Paul and a Fender, was the foundation of the original Kiss sound. His solos, blazing and breakneck, were squiggly delights of power. I loved Ace. When I got my very first Kiss albums in September of 1985, I had yet to hear his voice. When I finally did on Dynasty, I loved it. Ace's voice had a smooth commercial sound that Gene's and Peter's didn't. I loved 2000 Man and Hard Times, especially Hard Times, because the lyrics gave a glimpse of the childhood of the Bronx boy named Paul Frehley. Ace's first post-Kiss solo album was finally released in 1987, and I was immediately on board. My sister bought me Frehley's Comet for my birthday that summer. I loved the album. Rock Soldiers, Into the Night, Calling to You, and the instrumental Fractured 2. I played it back-to-back all summer. I dreamed of Ace opening for Kiss on their upcoming Crazy Nights tour, as if that would happen. Ace's premature loss is tragic, but what is most tragic is that Kiss refused to allow him back on stage with them during their farewell tour. By now, we have all learned that life is too short to not reconcile with our friends and loved ones. Kiss never did, and now they never can, and that is a tragic loss, too. On September 25th, 2025, Ace fell in his home studio. He suffered bleeding in the brain and was taken off life support on October 16th. Kiss fans worldwide steeled themselves for the news. I hope Ace is not just remembered for the Kiss classic songs that he wrote and played on. I hope attention is paid to his solo albums, from which you could build an absolutely killer box set. Tracks like Insane, Juvenile Delinquent, Trouble Walkin', Space Invader, I Want to Go Back, and Mission to Mars should all be given just as much attention as Rip It Out. The first original Kiss member to fall was Ace Frehley. That is a sad landmark. Let us remember him not for the feuds, the drugs, the drama, or the negative words that Gene and Paul bandied about far too often. Let's remember Ace for his charisma and most of all his music. Rip it out, Ace, for words are not enough.